Hey there, boys and girls. It's Ralph Garman, and you're listening to Talking Codswallop. Good choice.
Hello, everybody. This is Ming Chen from AMC's Comic Book Man. You might know me from the Tell 'em Steve Dave podcast and the I Sell Comics podcast. Listen, I love podcasting. I love talking, but what I really love doing is talking Codswallop.
Hey, I'm Alicia Witt.
I'm Daniel Portman from Game of Thrones. I play Podrick Payne.
I'm Ellipses, and you're listening to the Talking... Okay, I'm Mark Bernard, and you're listening to the Talking Codswallop podcast.
Hey man, it's Kevin Smith, Silent Bob, whose voice you were never used to hearing in the 90s until I started opening it up, man. And that's because I'm a podcaster and you're listening to a podcast, Talking Codswallop, right here, man.
Welcome to this week's Talking Codswallop. I am Gemma. No James this week. I would make up a story of, visiting glory holes or whatever, but he's not. He's just doing boring old work stuff. But he is gutted that he can't be here today because we have got a very special guest. And, well, he's been a guest on this podcast quite a few times now. I think it might be 3 times. And
this is my second.
This is your second? Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
I do apologise. Well, although I did talk to you briefly at a Comic-Con, so, maybe it's your third.
Oh, that's true. It is my third then. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. I take it back.
Yeah, although that was like a little tiny chat anyway, wasn't it? Yes, so please welcome to the show, the incredible Garry.
Hello. Not that incredible. Yes. I have appeared briefly I think when you were starting out as a snippet. And then last year we recorded to talk about board games and things. So I have been on there before, so I apologise to your listeners for boring them with more of my waffling.
Garry, first of all, you could never bore anybody because you're such a lovely person. And second of all, this is what podcasts are for,
The check is in the post. You're very kind.
Yeah, I know. I have to work hard for that 50p.
50p? I don't think we discussed 50p.
Oh, was it less than 50p?
I'm battling it down, put it that way.
Oh, you cheeky.
Always.
So, Garry, it seems like a silly question to ask, but how have you been? Because obviously I know how you've been, but how have you been?
Yeah, I've been all right since we last spoke, where it was all lovely talking about board games that I make, all the custom-themed games that I do.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that, we discovered that Kevin Smith himself had done a little video.
Yes.
Thanks to you promoting Talking Codswallop. Someone else went, oh, hang on a minute, I know that face. That's the guy who made a board game for Kevin Smith. So that was all lovely. And then it wasn't.
No.
So yeah, without wanting to bring anybody down on such a joyous podcast, I got diagnosed with colon cancer last June.
Yeah.
But I'm all good. It's been removed. The affected part has been removed. So I'm now a foot shorter of colon, but I'm all intact. I'm not quite as full of shit as most people might think I am. As a result, I basically went. So it wasn't right. I was eating and then not feeling right, and I was drinking and not feeling right, and so I went and got some tests done, and they found a stage 2 tumor in my colon, which they very promptly whipped out on the NHS. And God bless the NHS, but they brought me in, they knocked me out, they whipped it out, they patched me back up, and then after about 5-6 days in hospital, I was back home again. And then I've just spent the last few months doing some preventative, keyword, I have to stress that one, preventative chemotherapy treatment to reduce the risk of it ever coming back.
Yeah.
And as of the 2nd of January, after a phone call with the oncologist, my blood tests are all fine, everything's as it should be, and my CEA levels, which is something they use to measure the blood cell count for cancer, as I understand it. I don't understand it. I'm not a doctor.
No, exactly.
It's all fine and as it should be. So yeah, it's been a bit of a time, shall we say?
Yeah, definitely. And going back to you saying that you're boring people and that you're depressing people and whatnot, this is an important story to tell. So, because especially as you kind of ignored quite a few of your symptoms, didn't you, with regards to that?
Not so much ignored. I just knew that something wasn't right, and it's one of those things where, well, maybe it will go away.
Yeah.
Maybe this is stress. And at the time, I was going through quite a bit of a stressful situation with neighbours and the loss of our pet and stuff. So I was just thinking, oh, this is stress. And then the day the neighbours moved out, I felt fine. And I was like, yeah, this is stress then, because the fact they've gone has just made it all lovely.
Yeah.
But by that point, thankfully, I was already in the process of getting tested. I'd already spoken to a GP. So I didn't. I very nearly did write it off as stress. And like I said earlier, I'm not a doctor, and I'm going to advise everyone that isn't a doctor that you're not a doctor.
Yeah.
And so if you do have something that doesn't feel right, and if you don't have something that you know your own body half the time, but if you don't feel something's right, get it checked. I mean, we're all guilty of putting off an appointment, and we're all guilty of just thinking we know best. But I think if there's something wrong with your own body, then yeah, I'm glad I did. I'm glad I checked it out, because it was stage 2, which meant that it hadn't spread and it hadn't got any bigger than it needed to. Had I have left it, I could be in a very different place right now.
Yeah.
So thankfully, I spoke to a GP, which obviously during lockdowns and COVID is a little bit of a task as it is on an already stretched NHS. But thankfully, I managed to get hold of one on a video call and describe my symptoms. And of course, I thought, well, it's probably stress. It might be a bit of IBS or something like that. And thankfully, they turned around and said, well, the thing is that sort of thing is so common that we want to eliminate everything else before we just jump to that conclusion.
Yeah.
So they monitored me sort of over 2 weeks to see how I was getting on, but nothing was getting any better. So they were like, right, okay, go and get these tests done. So I had a test that had a raised FIT level. I don't know what FIT stands for. All I know is it's a fairly new procedure that they brought in about a year ago. But basically, yes, I had to provide them with some lovely blood and some not so lovely other bits that they needed.
Yeah.
And then a nice young man who really should have bought me a drink first did a quick examination and went, right, we need to come and see me next week.
Was there fingers up bums by any chance?
I don't want to kiss and tell, if I'm honest.
Or at least he kissed you.
Well, what a man does in the privacy of his own attic is... I mean, I've only got his word for it that his name was the one that was on the certificate on the wall. I mean, for all I know, he could have been the photocopier engineer. But no, he very, very kindly is always like, oh, this is a bit unusual. But normally it's nothing. Generally, these things are nothing. Yep. We just like to be certain. So can you come next week? And they whipped me in and sedated me, and then, well, I was meant to be in there for about 20 minutes, half an hour is what they told me. They sedated me, and I was like, that wasn't 20 minutes, that was like 5 minutes. That wasn't any time at all. God, what was all the fuss about? And it's because they literally found this thing whilst examining, and, you know, he very kindly was, do you want to see a picture of it? No, I don't. Oh, you've already shown me, thank you. Yeah.
I don't know, though. I think I would be quite fascinated in some ways. I know it's a horrible thing, but... Yeah. Yeah, no, the printout is still somewhere in this place, but I'm not quite sure where. Hopefully I can shred it at some point. I'm not planning to frame it. No. Yeah, you're not planning on making a board game out of it then? No.
In fact, that it's amazing how quickly everything paled into significance. Although, saying that, once I was out of the hospital, I was only in, like I said, I went in on the Monday morning, and then I was back home on the Saturday. And the Saturday, if you cast your mind back to when everyone was all hopeful about the Euros,
yep.
It was the Saturday where England were doing very well. I can't remember who we were playing now. Was it Uruguay? No, who were we playing? There was a big match, and it basically we thrashed.
Was it the last game?
No, it's sort of like midway through. But it's the one where we won like 4-1 or something stupid. But basically, everyone else around me was sort of cheering and celebrating, and I'm just sort of sat there on the sofa going, please don't move too quickly.
Yeah, oh.
Yeah, that was a week in hospital in which, like I say, the nurses and the consultants and the doctors and that, they were all fantastic as you expect to be, particularly at a trying time like COVID.
Yeah.
And, you know, without wanting to get political, you do see people going, well, they're cutting cancer treatments because of COVID. And it's like, no, they didn't cut mine. They looked after me.
Yep.
I saw an oncologist, and she, you know, I don't think they're ready for my sense of humour because I keep making jokes throughout with it. But they were like, we're gonna send you on 4 courses of preventative chemotherapy treatment, which essentially meant that I'd spend 2 hours in a hospital chair having it administered intravenously, and then I would have a 2-week course of tablets with it. And so for the first couple of days, they give you like steroids and anti-sickness, and then you're just on these big pink tablets, 4 in the morning and 4 in the evening, and they're horrible. By about the middle of the first week, you are struggling to keep anything down with it because it's just it's not the worst situation to be in, but it's not very pleasant.
No, because to be honest, because I remember a lot of it with my dad, because my dad had cancer, and he wasn't as successful. Well, he was successful for quite a while, but he wasn't successful in the end, unfortunately. But that doesn't mean you're not going to be successful, because you will be. But yeah, I do remember a lot of like the symptoms and things like that with regards to, what he experienced and stuff. So it is hard, and chemo is horrible.
Yeah, I mean, even just as preventative, and of course, I'm there every sort of 3 weeks. I've been. I'm not there now, thankfully, and nor am I in a hurry to return. But like every 3 weeks, you go in and you see people that have been going for months, or having 4 or 5 hour sessions going on, and you sort of sit there and go, I'm just here for 2 hours and I've only got 4 sessions to get through. These poor people have got it far worse, and probably in a worse position than I am. I've got nothing to really be sorry about, but my God, those tablets are horrible.
Yeah, you're absolutely allowed, because I think, something that somebody once told me was 2 things. It's that everybody's personal problems are big to them. So it doesn't matter. Yeah. In some ways, it doesn't matter how big other people's problems are, because your problems are still big. But also, somebody else said something that they, if you were to put all of your problems into a pile with everybody else's, you'd probably want to take yours back, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Sometimes you look at other people's problems, you go, oh crap, But at the same time, you're absolutely allowed to feel the way that you feel. And if the tablets are making you feel crap, then you're allowed to be feeling crap.
I'm amazed I got away with as much as I did, because the way they sort of portray it is that you're going to sail through this, but it will make you feel like this, it'll make you feel like that, it'll make you feel like this.
Yeah.
But to be fair, it wasn't terrible. It didn't leave me feeling too bad. I had some neuropathy in my fingers, which basically means you've got a pins and needles feeling. Yeah. Straight after it, and then there's a bit of nausea and a bit of lightheadedness. But in all fairness, I still managed to pretty much do everything I would normally do. Work has been great. Work has just take as much time as you need. So even to the point now where if I sort of message the gang and just sort of go, guys, I might need a bit of a nap, they're just fine. Yeah. So my workplace has been great. My wife's been great. My family's been great. Everyone's been fantastic throughout it all. And without that kind of support, I think as you and I were messaging the other day, that kind of support around you does make all the difference. To have people that are just like, are you all right? Are you okay? Are you coming out? Are you doing stuff? I mean, even now, and I finished the course of chemo in November. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of still getting some of the side effects. It's like they do one final round through your system. Okay. Yeah, there's an encore where I think whether it's because your body's conditioned to having the treatment, or whether it's just these things take a while to get out of your system. I mean, I've read reports that some people have it up to 6 months to a year, where the side effects, even though you're not on the tablets, the side effects might rear their head. So I still get a bit of neuropathy. I still get nausea. I still get extreme tiredness, but I look back at what I was doing during the actual treatment of chemotherapy, and it's I think the first session we ended up going to a friend's birthday drinks that night, which I honestly was, I might not make it to your birthday drinks. No, that's fine, but I made it. Yeah. You know what I mean? I had that first session and I made it. Managed to get down to Dorset. I mean, as you're a Dorset lady yourself, I managed to get down to Dorset and see my family. Once restrictions allowed,
Got stuck at the train station though, didn't you? Or was that just a separate occasion?
Oh, I think that was a separate one. Yeah, with the trains. Oh, don't get me started. No, really don't.
So you know what this podcast is for, right? We just have a good old moan about stuff. So feel free to moan about trains.
I don't want to be that person, but let me just assure you that come the revolution, South Western Railway, you will be first up against the wall. That's all I'm going to say there. I don't know why they don't bother with a timetable. They may as well call it best possible outcome and just be done with it. But so with that, we managed to get down to a beer festival that some friends of mine organise every year in Newbury.
Oh, cool.
And ultimately, the last session of Kibo in the chair. I mean, obviously, like I say, I had the chair session, and then I'm on tablets anyway. Mm-hmm. But that last session, I took the last of my tablets on the Friday, the 19th of November, and then after that, I have 3 days of like an immunity boost injection. But that was the weekend where I was at Comic-Con Olympia for the winter, and I think I ran it on complete adrenaline. Because I have been exceedingly tired throughout everything, but somehow I'd already booked the stall. I had an option when they postponed it from July to move it to November. I had an option to postpone it further, and I was like, no, I just want to get out there and do it.
Yeah.
And it does feel like the last few months, and sitting back on it now, particularly now at the moment where I'm sort of get very, very fatigued and tired, is looking back on it, maybe I was doing everything like there was no tomorrow, and now I know there is a tomorrow. I'm kind of slowing the pace and feeling it. But yeah, I managed to do Comic-Con. It was great to be behind the stall and meeting with people and chatting with people. And yeah, I felt a bit normal.
Yeah. What was Comic-Con like? Because obviously not obviously, because you don't know necessarily, but, like I've been sort of wanting to go back to sort of the Comic-Con scene, but also quite nervous about it because of the crowds and stuff. So is it quite good, like, with regards to like protection and stuff like that, or
I think so. I think a lot of people are exhibiting common sense anyway. And you do get, with Comic-Con, you get people from all walks of life and backgrounds and vulnerabilities and what have you.
Oh, I've lost you. Okay, well, we've just had a few technical issues, just like as usual with the Talking Codswallop podcast, but luckily I'd managed to save the first lot of audio, so that's good. And Gary, where you were at was Comic-Cons.
Yes, before I broke the internet.
Yeah.
I was at Comic-Con. They restricted numbers on daily attendance. All the stalls were spread out. They had mask checks and temperature checks, as far as I'm aware, of people coming in. Mm-hmm. I know they certainly did for us dealers. But yeah, no, it was a quiet one. For mid-November, I think it was quite people dipping their toe in to see how it was organised. It was definitely very spread out. There was a lot fewer stalls than usual. They had all the guests up in one area on the balcony of Olympia. But yeah, no, it was nice to be back.
Yeah, I can imagine. And it's quite nice and quite reassuring actually to hear that, they are, I always imagined that they would look after people, don't get me wrong, but it's quite nice from somebody who's been there to actually know what's what, So
I'd say a lot of people walking around with their masks on. I think they were doing checks at the door because they had to obviously monitor people coming in and space them out. I'd say from that perspective, it was successful. I'm just looking into whether I can do the February one at the end of spring.
Oh, yeah.
And then hopefully the summer one. And I think as time goes on, they'll work out what they can and can't do and what they can grow and what they're lumbered with as a result of all this, I think. But yeah, no, it was nice to be there.
Yeah, sort of back to a bit of normality and reality sort of thing.
Yeah, just nice being back behind a stall and talking board games with people. That was always fun.
Yeah, and for anybody who doesn't know what you do, because obviously we have covered it, like you said, on the previous episode, but what is it that you do with regards to like the board games and stuff? If anyone doesn't know, I design and make custom themed property trading games.
because
Yes.
I'm not allowed to say the other popular property chain game word. But and I've also recently I've been told it's successful. I've not played it myself as yet to test it, but I've recently did a murder mystery board game based on another popular murder mystery solving game. So yeah, I've just done that as well. So that might be something else I'll be branching out into doing in the future. I'm just trying to work out the logistics.
Yeah, that sounds actually really fun.
And as we say, after last time we spoke, and then you went and promoted the podcast on a Kevin Smith Facebook page, and then one of the members turned around and said, "Oh, that was nice to hear Kevin talking about Garry's board games the other month." And I'm there going, "What? Where? Who? This is news."
Yeah, because I'm not part of the well, not Patreon, but whatever Kevin Smith is doing, because he's
the Kevin Smith Club, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not part of that, so I didn't know anything about it either. So you're welcome,
I am
Garry.
part of it. Well, I'm part of it.
Yeah.
I'm a member of the fan club, but I didn't know anything about the videos because I'm not commuting. I mean, I'm still working from home on my day job, and so I don't get as much time to catch up on all the footage and stuff. I can listen to a podcast, but I don't get to listen to everything. And with Kevin Smith, as we know, he's quite prolific in what he does.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until I think it was Ben on the Facebook page turned around and went, "Oh, yeah, that was nice," and then I had to go through and try and find it. And thankfully, once I found it, they gave me permission to use it. I managed to get the original file sent over from Smodcast.
Oh, that's cool.
And I trimmed out the bits where he was talking about going to the dentist. But yeah, they sent me the original footage of the episode and gave me permission to use it. The big man says yes, is what I got told. So that was pretty damn cool.
Yeah, and that's an amazing way to promote, isn't it? Through the eyes of Kevin's, through the mouths of Kevin Smith, sort of thing.
As owned by, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he talked not even like a little small piece. He talked quite a bit about it, which is stunning for me, because I've never in a million years.
Yeah,
But,
so I just to quickly sort of do like a bit of promotion here as well. So if there's any Kevin Smith fans actually listening to this episode and they're wondering who the incredible person was behind this board, then and didn't know from the Facebook page, here's Garry. His contact details will be given out at the end of the episode, and get in touch with him, because I think he's a few projects now. He's bored now.
I've had almost 6 months off. No, we did all right last year. I took it easy. The minute I had the diagnosis, I did put things on hold with regards to anything that didn't need to be done this second.
Fair enough.
But it's been a slow burn back into it. I had a few bits and pieces to do for Christmas. I made six. I think I discussed this on the last one. I was in the process of doing it, but I made 6 board games for members of the Lancashire Hot Pots, which are a comedy folk band.
You did, yeah, because they were the ones with the mobility scooter that you made, wasn't it?
The shop mobility scooter.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was so cool. And it was cool the fact that you actually made it,
Yeah. It was one of those things where I'm still not quite sure how I did it, but I managed it. And they've all been very happy with the games. Yeah. And they've said some nice things. And at some point they're hoping to have obviously, they're back touring again and gigging. But then we've also had like the distancing and stuff going on. But at some point they have turned around and said to me they're going to try and do a video for me of them playing it, which would be cool.
That would be cool. Definitely cool idea for the page as well, for your like website and stuff like that, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, all helps to be able to say as owned by Kevin Smith or as owned by the Hotbots or all that malarkey. There's another film director in Hollywood, that's got one of my games that I delivered just before Christmas, but I've not had any feedback. But then I get the impression he's quite a private person. But he's directed many a film, quite big comedies in like the late 70s, early 80s, but and a very famous comedy horror, but I can't say much beyond that. But
are we not allowed to have the inside scoop here? Come on.
I mean, if I just said the Three Amigos,
okay,
then that's a bit of a clue, because that's what I made for them. I made them a Three Amigos game.
Oh, awesome.
Which is one of their works. So Yeah, I mean, it's fairly apparent who it is from that, but it's just one of those things where I think they're quite private, so I've not really broadcast the fact too much.
Yeah, the thing is that I'm sitting here thinking, right, I'm going to have to Google that afterwards because I'm not sure still. But that's okay because I will look.
Well, just think of me as an ambassador for Google because now you're all going to be searching.
Yes, indeed.
Going, what's that old man on about? Films, what?
How old are you? You're not old.
I mean, I've aged a little bit in the last 6 months, but I'm 47 now.
Okay. Oh, you are old then.
But, yeah, I am. Old man Azzaro. Yeah, that's all right. That's good. That's fine.
Well, there we go. Might have an episode title at least. Old man Azzaro.
That's cool. I can live with that.
Yeah.
It certainly feels like it at the moment. All the aches and pains and everything else going on.
Oh, God, look, we just got to the giggling and the laughing part. You can't go backwards now.
Well, I can. Slam it into reverse. Slam it into reverse. I'm an old man now, and if there's one thing I can't stand, it's that I can't stand up. Yes.
It's
all good.
I don't know if do you know of Jeffro?
I know Jeffro, of course I know. I know we lost him recently.
I know, which was really sad, but you've got a very similar sense of humour to him in some ways.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I think so. Well, yeah, it could be worse. And as long as I'm not Jim Davidson, that's fine.
No, I did. I like Jeffro. So
yeah, you like a bit of Jeffro.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
It's like when I want to have there's a real comeback that he said was when I want to hear your feedback or something, I'll fart or something, or when I want to hear an arsehole, I'll fart.
Yeah. If I wanted to listen to an arsehole, I'd fart. Yes. Yeah, I'm not allowed on Zoom team meetings anymore.
Well, I mean, I'm allowed on them, but I'm not on visual, so, it's only audio, so, and usually I'm just like, oh, hello.
Yeah. Yes. Anything to report? No. Can I go home now? You are home. Brilliant. Bye.
That's basically what I'm trying to do. Or I just mute myself and just listen to what everybody else has got to say, and then, because I'm sort of working still, I'm doing order processing, so, the orders don't stop coming in just because I'm on a telephone call, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
Yeah,
no, I'm very lucky that I have a great team that I'm part of at work in my day job, and that my department manager, when I was going through all the hospital stuff, they'd check in with me to see how I was, and I was like, I'll probably come back. I'm going to be off for like 2 months, is what they're telling me, but I'll probably try and come back a bit sooner, 1 day a week. And then I was back in like 5 days a week working from home, just crack on and give me something to do.
Yeah.
But my boss would check in. He would check in when he could, and he's got his. I mean, we're a team of misfits in which we've all had a bit of a tough year with health and relatives and family, and so we've all been a bit in the same boat. But we've all sort of got each other's back. So if anyone needs to leave early or needs to take the day out or whatever, then we're on it. We don't say too much about it, and then. With my department manager boss, he would jump on a work call if he was available, and then once the other team had finished, he'd stay on with me just to see how I was doing, see if there's anything I needed. He'd chat to my wife and see if there's anything she needed, and he was just like, "Look, this is the time where we take care of you because you do enough for us." So and the feedback he got from my wife was, "I like your boss. He's very sweary." So I quite like the fact that I've got an environment in which if it's just us, we're not doing the professional thing and we're just talking, that he's just like, sod all this, mate. Don't worry about that. You've got enough to deal with. So, it's been quite good like that.
Yeah, and that's good. That's nice when it's an understanding team and boss and whatnot. Is it actually quite a small team then that you work with, or...?
Yeah, it's a without giving it away, big company but small team. I'm part of a small team where we deal with asset and archiving.
Yeah.
And so I deal with a lot of artwork and making sure we've got stuff kept on file and looked after and stored correctly and all this kind of thing. But there's only sort of me, 2 other young lads, and my department manager. And then that's just our initial division. Then we've got like another couple of larger teams spread out at different locations and what have you. So, yeah, it's been one of those things where only a few people sort of know what's been going on with my health the last few months, just purely out of, necessity.
Yeah.
In that respect. But yeah, those who do know have been very supportive, and they'll email me to see how things are going, not just to ask me to do some work. They'll actually email me just to see how things are. So that's always nice as well and appreciated.
Yeah. Or they could be buttering you up. They could be saying, "Hi Gary, how are you? I hope you're really well." Or, or "How are you doing?" Start a little chatter. "By the way, is there any chance you could do such and such?"
No. I mean, this is the thing. When I first announced, I was like, sort of said, "I'm going to come back and do one day. If I just log on and do one day a week."
Yeah.
To which they were like, "Look, if you log on and do half an hour a week, we don't care. As long as you're all right and you're okay and your energy levels are fine and you don't feel stressed."
Yeah.
And I think the first sort of week back in, and a project came in that involved me having to go through a list of like 5,000 product IDs and then filter through and find what we held for that. So it was just like, why did I come back? I could have let's wait another week. Someone else would have dealt with this. No, it's all right. So that's Muggins here. He'll do it. He's a one-man wrecking crew when it comes to searching for things. So that's nice. It's quite nice, actually. I don't mind. I love getting my teeth into stuff, and I'm lucky to have a job where I deal with some quite cool bits and pieces and get involved in different projects. That's quite fun. So yeah. It's been nice just being able to return to work and actually want to return to work after what I've just been through, and go, do you know what? I just want to be happy and distracted and doing stuff I enjoy doing. So that's been quite good as well. And they, the HR team reach out and check in on me and make sure that my head hasn't fallen off or anything. So that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we don't want your head to roll. So no, definitely not. But so I think sometimes work can be a welcome distraction, can't it? Because although every Sunday evening, like when you were a kid, you used to like have that thing of, it's school tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, if any teenagers are listening, it doesn't get much better as an adult because work's the next day. So it doesn't change, and then there's normally bills associated with it as well. Yeah. So actually, it's worse.
if you are young and free and don't have that fear or dread, then good for you. But quite frankly, I hate you. No, it's nice to have something to get up and go, do you know what? What does the day hold? Is it something different? Is it something new? Is it something before? Is it, I've been working in print and design for about 30 years now because, I am old and I started young. And it's a case of, I still use stuff that I learned 30 years ago. I still call back on things. I'm still learning different things every day as well. So, to have that kind of thing is very lucky because we're not all that lucky to get jobs that allow that. And I've been in those jobs. I'm lucky to be where I am at the moment. But I mean, I dread to think, what the last few months would have been like if I was working for, say, one of the, another company. Because not everyone's got that sort of position to go, to take 2 months off, and we'll make sure you're okay if you need anything, sort of thing. So just very fortunate in that respect. And just very fortunate that I listened to myself. And that's the one thing that I kept it fairly quiet when I got diagnosed because I didn't know what the future held. Yeah. I didn't know what's around the corner. There were a few people that, immediate circle that, I had to make the phone call with. I had to tell my mum, and my mum's, no spring chicken. So that wasn't much fun because I had to do it via the phone. But thankfully, both my sisters went down to Dorset to see her. And let me video call because they're both still in Dorset. So they went round to see her and let me video call so that she could see face to face that, no, Mum, I'm fine. I've not got a bald head and I'm not a 6-ounce stick figure. You know what I mean? I didn't want her thinking I was like some kind of Hallmark movie. And,
enough.
Some kind of thing. So that was pretty handy to do. And then my sisters came up and stayed and supported my wife whilst I was out, my friend support, whatever. But I didn't really tell anyone outside of those until I had the first session of chemo. The day I had my first session of chemo was the day we lost Sean Locke. So that was more of a thing together for me then, was to like, you know what, I'm not worried about, I wouldn't normally choose social media to do it on, but I did put a post out there just to sort of say, look, just so you guys know what's going on. Yeah. Because there's about 500 of you and I don't have the time to call you all. So, it's here in black and white, and I'm very much of an old school thing of if people haven't got anything better to talk about, they'll make it up. So I was like, right, okay, here are the facts, here's what's happened, you don't need to worry about anything. I'm having preventative chemo, it's not, curative or anything like that, it's preventative. So that's a good sign, a good word to use. But more importantly, like I say, I nearly wrote it off as stress because I'm not a doctor. And thankfully, an actual doctor went, no, this isn't. So I'm glad I got it checked. And I urge anyone who's not, who's got a grumble or a niggle, you're not wasting anyone's time by going to ask a doctor about it. You know what I mean? I'd rather go and, I'm sure they'd rather you go and ask them a silly question about an ache or a niggle or something that's not going away, than you get to a point where you, my biggest worry at the time of getting all the tests done was that whole kind of thing of, if only you'd come last week. Which so I'm lucky that I listened to myself, and I'd like to say I've since I sort of went public with friends about it all, and the treatment and the urging to get stuff checked. I mean, the amount of people I've had reach out to me and tell me that they've gone and got a test done, or they've gone and got something checked, or that appointment they've been putting off, they've suddenly made it and done it. Yeah. And I'm talking close friends, vague acquaintances. We had a window fit around because they were doing some work to the place we live in. We had a window fit around gruff lad, 60, sort of like East London, proper geezer. Yeah. And he saw my tablets on the side and was like, "Oh, what's that then? You got to take them, have you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I told him. He went, "Well, yeah, no, they've been checking, but they've been telling me to go for a screening for my prostate because I'm 60 now. I don't want to bloody go and do that. My wife keeps nagging me." I went, "Mate, I'm 47. Go and get it checked, please. You don't know me from Adam. You literally come around this morning to do some work on some windows." Yeah. But do you know what I mean? Just listen to your wife, listen to yourself, and just go and get it checked. Because if it's nothing, great, thumbs up, if you'll pardon the expression. But do you know what I mean? Great. If it's nothing, then that's peace of mind. And if it is something, well, then you've possibly just given yourself a chance to get it sorted. And to be fair to him, who am I? This skinny stick figure from Dorset telling some gruff old builder, to go and get his health sorted out. But about a month and a half, 6 weeks later, he turned up again because he had to do some more work on the place above us. Okay. And whilst he was waiting for the chap upstairs to turn, he sort of did very sheepishly. First of all, he was like, "Oh yeah, no, just come back from Spain. We had a lovely holiday in Spain, blah, blah, blah. Now we can travel again." And then he very sheepishly changed his tone and just went, "I did listen to you, and I would have got it checked before I went on my holiday." And I was like, "Did you?" He went, "Yeah." He goes, "Because I told my missus and I told her about you." And she sort of went, "Right, that's it, you're going. Do you want to go on holiday and have to be worrying about it, or do you want to get it out of the way?" Yeah. He goes, so he was like, "So I went and had it done, and everything's all good, nothing to worry about." He said, "But yeah, I just wanted to say thank you." So I was like, "Aww. Fair play. That's great." And if you know what I mean, if you if someone tells you that, that's great. If you don't have to listen to me, but I'd rather you did if it comes to something like that, because I tend to try and worry about everyone, and it's one of those things where, yeah, I've had, like I say, close friends, vague acquaintances. People tell me that their partner went and got something done because of me, and it's like, well, that's cool, that's great. And when it came to Facebook does its birthday fundraiser, pick a charity for your birthday. Yeah. I set it up as just being for Bowel Cancer UK, and I just thought I'd raise 150 quid. That'd be fine. And then you beautiful lot all raised, or those that know me, raised over £1,000 for Bowel Cancer UK.
I know. It's a smashing it out the park moment, wasn't it?
Absolutely bloody amazing. And you know what I mean? It's having been with, you know, in the hands of the NHS, and being monitored by doctors and being checked up on this, and I've had scans and X-rays and all that going on. So to be able to do something back or give something back was bloody amazing. And the fact they sent me a thank you card, I don't know why they sent me a thank you card. They just sent everyone who's donated a thank you card. All I did was have the bloody thing, you know. But
they probably couldn't afford all of the cards, though, could they? So, you know.
Well, yeah. Well, I took a photo and went, "This is for you, lot. There you go. Thank you very much." Old man Azzaro, very happy. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one thing I just want to stress, because I mean, I know you've got a demographic and you've just passed your 200 episode mark, which is amazing.
Yep.
Because you were just getting this off the ground when I first sort of met you. So
I know,
congratulations there on 200 episodes plus. That's amazing. But I just want to stress it, because I imagine you've got a demographic of listeners of all different ages.
We do. Yeah.
Yeah. And trust me, the one thing I've heard consistently throughout this whole ordeal is, I'm a bit too young to have it at 47, but they are seeing cases in people in their 20s, in their 30s, fit and healthy. The people that go to the gym, the people that eat the right things, they're still seeing cases of it on the rise, and they don't know why. So just because you're a certain age or a certain thing, please don't just ignore it and say, well, it can't be that because I'm too young, because you don't know. And I lost a dear friend of mine a couple of years ago because he thought he had a bit of a bad stomach, and he was only 32 when he died.
Yeah.
So, yeah, without wanting to bring it all down, you're not impervious, you're not Keith Moon, and even he's dead, so, you know. So, you know, just please, just take it on board and just, you know, think about it, and just go, that doesn't feel right, or that makes me feel a bit queasy when I do this, or whatever. Just go and ask, because if it's nothing, great, happy days. And if it's something, well then, yeah. So, yes. So what now? Can I go back to doing Dick and Nobs gags now?
Definitely. Yeah, but
bringing the party down.
I do think that it's important, though, because it's like, you know, before I got diagnosed with my diabetes and stuff, I started feeling a bit blur, you know, and it was, you know, I did sort of ignore it for a while, and I know diabetes isn't quite the same as cancer, but it's still similar in a way.
Well, it still affects your lifestyle and then how you lead it. And there's different ways of treating various bits and bobs. So so I'm in some ways I'm glad that I went to get it checked out. In other ways I'm not, because now I can't eat sweets. But I'm joking. No, I'm having to, apart from the fact that I've had to quit smoking, which is probably sensible anyway. And then I also have to cut down on my red meat intake. So I can have red meat, but I've got to limit it. And I can't do processed foods, apparently. Processed meat's not good for you.
Yeah.
So I've had to cut down on pork scratchings. And if there's one thing I like, it's a good old pork scratching.
Oh, can you have them occasionally, or just have them not at all?
I mean, I can probably have them occasionally, but it's probably not advisable, so that'd be good.
Yeah.
The one thing I did find when I came out of the hospital was that I suddenly had an addiction to chocolate eclairs, which probably isn't good for me either, but I've managed to surpass that now. But when I was in the hospital, they let me have some food. The food was, you know, this is what passes for lasagna, this is what passes for bolognese, or this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which in itself, you're there going, I'm supposed to be cutting down on red meat. Why are you giving me lasagna and bolognese? Okay. All right then. Nurse! Kind of thing. But one day they was like, for dessert you can have a chocolate eclair. And I went, I'm all over a chocolate eclair. I haven't had one in years. And I had a chocolate eclair there. It was the nicest thing I've had in the entire hospital system. I'm not going to argue.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had the chocolate eclair. And then when I came out, I just kept accidentally falling into my shopping basket sort of thing, or adding them to my list. Because, you know, I lost about a stone just being in hospital. I've managed to put that back on. That's all good.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Because you were never big anyway, were you? So, that's good that you've put the weight back on.
I'm mostly fueled by alcohol, but yeah.
I think most people are nowadays.
Yeah.
It's quite funny because when we put like our recycling bins out or whatever, because my mum was not really that big of a drinker before, and I'm not massively either. But since her boyfriend's or fella's been living here, it seems weird to call a grown man a boyfriend. You know what I mean? But yeah, they always put out the sort of recycling, and there's always loads and loads of bottles now, and I'm like,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'll tell you now, if you want your Christmas tip, I'm going to give you a hernia first.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I got a couple of bottles for Christmas. So, I got a bottle of rum that I've still got. And it's like, it's the 17th of January and I've still got it. You know what I mean? I've had it since Christmas.
Yeah.
And there was this other bottle of rum that I got from, I was being cheeky one day at work. And there's this salesman, and nobody listens from work, so I'm going to carry on with it. But there was this salesman who was like, "Oh, you're doing really great today," and he said, "Oh, I have to buy you a drink next time you're in the office." So I said, "Well," and I sent him a link to Uber Eats, I think it was, and I sent him the bottle of Kraken rum. I picked the most expensive rum, or the most expensive I could get away with anyway. I sent him that link, and I said, "Well, you can always buy it now for me if you want." And then a couple of hours later, it turned up on my door, and I was like, "No way!"
Cool.
So I need to crack that open as well at some point.
Nice.
But yeah, so it does pay to be cheeky.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Live my whole life by that rule.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. So this is the first time I've ever said it. So Gary, don't tell anyone.
I haven't said nothing. Nothing to no one.
The sad thing was, though, that my mum nearly turned it away because she hadn't ordered anything and I was out. So I was like, no.
Yeah, no.
Bloody idiot.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, I don't know about you, but I think maybe we should sort of wrap up the episode now, because then you can head off to the pub, because we,
How very dare you. Yes, I will, yeah.
I know that's where you're going next, you cheeky git.
Not at all, not at all.
No. But, did you want to sort of like give us your, social media and a bit about, where people can find your
Oh, yeah.
stuff?
Yeah. If you want to check out the Kevin Smith video, as we've discussed it, it's on my Facebook page for the game. So it's facebook.com/International Ridicule.
Yeah.
And then on Twitter, at IRBoards, and Instagram as well. Or you can go to the webpage, which constantly needs updating, which is internationalridicule.co.uk. And if you want to reach out about board games, or even if you've listened to this episode and gone and got something checked, then I'd love to hear about that, because that just makes me feel like I'm doing something good. So you could just contact me through those, and let me know if you want a game, or if you just want to go, I went and got the pimple on my bum checked, but it's just a pimple on my bum, but at least I know. That would be great.
Sorry, it's the way you say it. I just got a pimple on my bum.
Yeah. I imagine that's what you all sound like. I have no idea.
Big burly man, pimple on my bum.
I don't even know if they're from Burley, but yes.
Well, that definitely wasn't a Burley accent. Well, actually, I don't even know what a Burley accent is, to be honest. So it could have been.
Just making it up.
Yeah. Right. Well, thank you ever so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been really, really educational, but really good to hear from you as well, because
thank you.
Obviously, I send you messages from time to time. I don't like to send too many.
Despite the restraining order. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But I don't like to send too many on a serious note because I don't want to sort of feel like I'm bombarding anyone. Do you know what I mean? But
Sure.
yeah. So, but I'm always here if you ever need to chat about stuff or whatever. But
I appreciate that, and hopefully it's not been too depressing for your listeners. It's not an easy subject, but I've made so many jokes myself over the last 6 months. I'm probably going to go to hell anyway. I might as well earn it.
I think we need to hear a couple of the jokes before you go.
I mean, even just when the consultant was sat down with my wife and I to tell me about what the operation was going to involve, I stopped him halfway through and went, "Can I just ask a quick question?" He said, "Certainly." I said, "Am I going to be knocked out during all this?" And he sort of looked at my wife a bit puzzled, like, "What?" And I went, "I don't really care. You go in and do what you need to do. I'm going to be asleep. I don't need to know about any of the grisly bits. You just go in, get under the bonnet, do what you want to do. I'm going to trust you." And he was like, "Right, okay, all right then." Right, I'm not sure. And they're just like, "Is he for real?" I'm like, "What? I don't. What am I going to do?" It's one thing I had a lot of over it was people telling me how incredibly brave I was for it all, and I'm there going, I didn't have a choice. There's no bravery here. I didn't have a choice. What was I going to do? Just had a bit of colon cancer. Get on with it.
Yeah.
No, there's no choice at that point. You sort of go, oh, all right then. So yeah, I'd turn up for my my chemotherapy sessions in my Monty Python "I'm Not Dead Yet" t-shirt, which gave the nurses a chuckle.
I do think that people with a sense of humour are needed in that situation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is one of those situations where I always thought I'd be the one who sort of like run for the hills and break down, but when faced with it, it was a case of, well, I haven't got much choice in the bloody matter. I've got to crack on now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was so, yeah, I don't mind a bit of silly humour with it all. And even with the oncologist, when she was describing the effects of the neuropathy from chemotherapy, about how it makes your fingers feel all fizzy, and they're like, "Well, because you're an art worker, so if you want to change the dose, we can lower the dose so it doesn't hurt your fingers so much," and da da. And it's an old classic, but I managed to get it out there, and I always will if I can. Which was just like, will I be able to play the piano? And she was like, "Oh, yeah, absolutely." I went, "Well, I couldn't beforehand," but she fell for it. That's not for me to say, so that she fell for it. But yeah, it's a silly old gag, but.
Oh, you are so silly.
Ridiculous. Some sick people in those hospitals, I don't have it.
See, so even when you're feeling down, or whatever, you don't let things get you down completely. I know that obviously probably you do in some ways, but
yeah,
it's good to keep your sense of humour. It's good to keep on going,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's in the words of the late Robin Williams, if they can't take a fuck, joke 'em.
Yes.
So, that's what try to go with. Just, have a laugh, get on with it.
Yeah.
But thank you for having me again.
You're absolutely welcome. Right, I'm really going to let you go this time, so I'm going to click record first. Not click record, but click save first before you do go. Oh no, I've just clicked record. I'm joking.
Oh, I've got to remember all that again, have I?
Yep, we got to do it all again. Sorry.
Right.
All right,
Cool.
Well, thank you ever so much again, Garry, and I will see you soon. I'm going to see you at a Comic-Con very soon.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yep, you will be, and I will
Right.
be as well at some point.
Cool.
When I
All right, Gemma.
Okay,
You'll be fine.
go to the pub. Okay, bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.